According to Animal Shelter Count, 5.8 million animals entered into shelters and rescues all across the United States in 2024. Animal Shelter Count also recorded that 607,000 animals were euthanized in 2024 as well. Our group is committed to supporting animals and connecting them to their potential owners to create happy homes and happier and healthier pets. Today, we will be highlighting the Haven Animal Care Shelter based out of Lubbock, Texas, and why they deserve your financial support. We will discuss why animal shelters are necessary, the impact that the Haven Animal Care Shelter is making in the Lubbock community, and how your financial support will take them and their mission to the next level. One really unique thing about the Haven Animal Care Shelter is that their mission is that they are committed to never euthanize an animal due to time or space. They provide long-term care for animals with chronic illness, senior pets, and those animals that have disabilities. Now, I will pass it over to Allie, who will discuss why animal shelters are necessary and the impact that the Haven Animal Care Shelter is making in the Lubbock community.
Why are animal shelters necessary? So animal shelters were not created for fun or for entertainment or for adoption purposes, but they were actually created out of necessity. So there were actually a lot of excess dogs and a lot of homeless dogs and a lot of dogs getting hurt, and so there was actually one created, and the first organization that was created was the American Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or ASPCA for short. It was founded in New York City in 1866 as the nation's first animal welfare organization. The American Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or ASPCA, has spent more than 150 years on the front lines of the fight against animal cruelty. They have saved, transformed, and protected millions of lives of animals, of cats and dogs since then. And they're continuously revolutionizing and evolving how our rapidly changing society can care for these animals in changing of times in the long term. According to a Times Magazine article, the first animal shelter in the United States was founded on April 14th, 1869 by Caroline Earl White and a group of passionate women and activists. They opened the shelter in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. At first, their mission focused on overworked horses, so they actually had plenty of adopted horses that they would take care of, and they would feed them, give them vaccinations, keep them healthy, give them a place to live, and then they decided that they wanted to quickly grow, and so they expanded their efforts to include lost and homeless dogs. This created what they called a refuge, where these animals could be kept safe until a permanent home could be found or they could otherwise be dealt with. So if a permanent home was necessary, such as if they were domesticated, they would bring them in, give them the vaccinations they need, wait for a home to come adopt them, and they would be on their way in a happy home. Or if they were a wild animal that just needed some sickness prevention, they would give that sickness prevention and send them back out. It just depended what that animal needed and what it needed in its specific scenario. It varies from animal to animal. They could otherwise care for these animals however was necessary. This moment marked a major shift in how people thought about animals. It showed that animals deserve compassion, safety, and someone to fight for them. More than 150 years later, on the front lines, organizations like PETA or PETA are still clarifying and clarifying that torch to this day. PETA points out that finding a place for homeless dogs is not just a nice thing to do, but is absolutely essential. Dogs and cats living on the street face dangers every single day. They get hit by cars, they're attacked by other animals. The second they go out in the wild, they actually become the prey. So this is not safe for them in the wild anymore. They're often abused by people, and on top of that, they suffer from diseases that spread so quickly when gone untreated. Something as simple as a skin infection can turn deadly if no one steps in. Parasites and other skin diseases, if you don't have the immunity for that the animals need, then one gets sick and it transforms to the rest of the community so quickly, and all of the animals perish. so quickly due to this mass spread of diseases. These parasites will go inside, stay outside, and literally eat the animal from the outside and the inside in, meeting in the middle. Slowly can eat at them and causing them pain most of us can't even imagine. These animals aren't just uncomfortable, they're scared, sick, and suffering. That's why shelters matter. That's why they exist. They provide more than a roof. They provide perfection, protection, healing, and hope for these animals. A shelter can't be the first step towards a third chance or a fourth chance. It needs to be the step towards a second chance. It gives these animals the direct help that they need to get them going on the right direction to be healthy for the rest of their lives and a happy home. It can mean the difference between a slow, painful death and a future home with love, safety, and a caring family. The work started by Caroline Earl White is saving lives to this day and reminds us all that kindness should never stop at the edge of our own species. Why the Haven Animal Care Shelter? The Haven Animal Care Shelter is a non-profit foundation established in 1977 by Dr. Brenda and Joe Wilbanks. The Haven ACS is a no-kill, non-profit animal sanctuary and is generally home to about 100 give or so animals, depending on if they're sharing crates or if they're sharing little individual crates and cages, or if the animals are all in their own. It just varies from season to season. Obviously, in the warmer months, these animals will be brought in more in Lubbock due to it being so hot. But these are primarily dogs and cats. It can often range between dogs, cats, bunnies, birds, but it's more primarily dogs and cats. The Haven ACS and Texas Tech Canine Affiliation Lab have actually teamed up together multiple times, and one of the unique programs that they did is where they award dogs with a PH Dog Award or a PH Dog degree, which is kind of cool. The Haven Hope for Animal Fund is a spay/neuter program that utilizes a voucher system. We are not requesting that you charge a reduced rate. However, participants will be given a voucher which will authorize specific amounts that the fund will pay. This will vary based on size, type, gender of each dog or cat, depending, like spays are going to be more expensive than neuters because it's an inside versus an outside job, so it just varies depending on dog breed, how difficult, the medications. It varies from animal to animal. Participants will pay the remaining amount of whatever you choose to charge and will be able to choose who will provide the service for them. The Animal Care Shelter has been caring for Lubbock community for over 50 years and is dedicated to making a difference for animals and animal lovers in the future and in today.
As previously mentioned, the Haven ACS has vouchers to help people provide medical services for their animals. So extra financial support from people would allow for more animals to be cared for. The Haven ACS is nonprofit, which means that extra finances could potentially be for maybe like facility upgrades or the ability to start a new program so that more animals could be helped. Also, because the Haven ACS is volunteer-based, any of that extra finances that aren't used towards a new facility or a new program could be used to maybe sponsor the part-time staff that volunteers for these shelters to keep the facilities up and running smoothly. We're grateful for the time you have given us to explain why the Haven Animal Care Shelter is essential to the Lubbock community and why that they could use some more financial support. Animal shelters are a key part in keeping everything around us, all the animals and everything, safe and okay and cared for. And the Haven Animal Care Shelter has been committed to doing that for almost 50 years. With your donation of $10,000, they could do abundantly more by upgrading programs, facilities, and expanding their outreach, or even adding part-time staff members to help lead their volunteers. Thank you, and please consider partnering with us.